Pay close attention because the words I'm about to share will strike deep and could transform your entire perspective. You're navigating a world that's constantly buzzing, screaming, demanding. It's a constant fight to get heard, to get seen, to earn respect. Everybody's struggling, amplifying their voices, attempting to rise above the chaos. And being truthful with yourself, perhaps you've fallen into this pattern too. You shout, you validate, you force. But here's what's real. That racket. It's hollow. It's draining. And it's feeble. Genuine power. It doesn't have to shout. It doesn't have to validate anything. It leads. Silently, invisibly, yet utterly undeniable. That's the quiet strength. The force that doesn't yell but dominates every space it occupies. Take a look around. Who truly earns your respect? The noisiest individual or the person who remains calm, composed, as if they possess the atmosphere without uttering much? That's the kind of strength I'm describing. It's the strength the ancient Stoics perfected. These individuals endured turmoil, conflict, grief, treachery, yet they didn't shatter. They didn't lose their composure. Instead, they became invincible by mastering their thoughts and feelings. Marcus Aurelius stated, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. That strength is quiet. It's unwavering. It's genuine. And it's residing within you. But this isn't some mystical solution or instant remedy. It's a practice, a capacity you develop daily through commitment, endurance, and restraint. This strength isn't about being distant or unfeeling. It's about commanding your emotions so they don't command you. It's about remaining grounded when everything surrounding you seems to be crumbling. Picture entering a space thick with tension, individuals quarreling, disorder hanging in the atmosphere. You don't elevate your voice. You don't engage in the conflict. You inhale. You hold your ground. And somehow your composure cuts through the disorder. Individuals pay attention. They honor you. That's the quiet strength at work. Now, you may be thinking that sounds powerful, but how do I achieve it? That's precisely why I created this video. I'm going to guide you through 6 transformative lessons taken directly from the Stoics and actual experience that will help you cultivate that silent power. But before we continue, I need you to commit to yourself. Promise me you won't bypass any segment of this path. Skipping even one element means sacrificing part of the strength. Promise me you'll dedicate yourself because this is about transforming your existence, not temporarily, but permanently. And promise me you'll implement, not simply observe and move on. So what does this strength look like in your everyday existence? It's the tolerance to hear when others rush to judgment. It's the assurance to speak less and express more. It's the capacity to master your rage, anxiety, and exasperation instead of allowing them to master you. It's the commitment to maintain your attention when interruptions demand your focus. It's the fortitude to distance yourself from discord when it doesn't benefit you. Not from weakness, but because you recognize your value. The quiet strength doesn't render you hidden. It renders you utterly compelling. Individuals will honor you because you don't require their validation. You demand respect because you've secured it internally. And the finest aspect, this strength isn't exclusive to a select group. It's within every individual ready to invest the effort. Let's awaken it together. Music. Number 1, emotional mastery is silent power. You desire genuine strength. Master your emotions, not bury them, not disregard them, but govern them like a monarch who understands his subjects but doesn't allow them to rebel. Most individuals exist like scattered leaves, thrown around by whatever feeling strikes them. Fury, they detonate. Envy, they brood. Terror, they paralyze. But the individual who grasps the Stoic philosophy understands this. Strength isn't in experiencing nothing. Strength is in selecting your reply. Let me share a narrative. There lived a man employed in a demanding position. Daily his superior degraded him. Colleagues dismissed him. Most individuals would have erupted, perhaps resigned or retaliated in fury, but not him. He remained composed, absorbed, replied with precision, and carried himself with honor. Gradually, one after another, individuals began perceiving him differently. Why? Because he didn't respond like everyone else. He possessed emotional mastery and that quietness, that capability to remain solid when others lost their composure. That secured him respect silently, gradually, completely. Consider this. The person who provokes your anger dominates you. That's not merely a phrase, it's a caution. The instant you surrender to fury or fear, you surrender your strength. Stoics instruct us to halt, to inhale, to notice before we reply. You don't need to reciprocate someone's disrespect. You simply need to surpass it with dignity. That doesn't indicate you're feeble. It indicates you're calculated. A lion doesn't acknowledge every sound. Why? Because he understands what he represents, and so should you. This form of emotional fortitude doesn't merely earn you respect. It safeguards your tranquility. Individuals begin to detect something distinct in you. They sense it in how you communicate, how you carry yourself, how you don't waver when existence delivers its harshest. You transform into still waters, profound, unshaken and filled with concealed strength. If you're attempting to gain mastery over your emotions currently, begin simply. When something irritates you, don't respond immediately. Notice it. Examine it. Breathe through it. Allow time before replying. Gradually, you'll discover your emotions begin to assist you, not govern you. Because genuine strength isn't noisy. It's silent, constant, honored. Number 2, your aura speaks before your words. There's a quiet strength that communicates before you utter a syllable. Your aura. Ever entered a space and sensed someone's force before they even spoke? That's not sorcery. That's the outcome of internal peace, assurance, and focus manifesting externally. And it's among the most timeless instruments of Stoic strength. You don't need to elevate your voice to elevate your worth. You become worthy by perfecting your aura. Aura is how your physical form communicates when your voice is silent. It's your stance, your gaze, your composure under strain. It's the manner you don't shuffle, the manner you absorb without cutting off, the manner you appear unaffected by trivial disorder. Individuals sense this. Even if they don't comprehend it, they sense it and they honor it. There's a statement from Epictetus, a Stoic thinker, that declares, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Put differently, don't discuss who you represent. Demonstrate it in the manner you present yourself. That is aura. That is quiet strength. Now, let's be honest. Most individuals are uneasy with quietness. When there's a gap in dialogue, they hurry to occupy it. When situations get strained, they blurt something forth. That's because quietness exposes things like doubt or nervousness. But when you're comfortable with quietness, when you embrace it with complete consciousness, it transforms into your advantage. Individuals begin embracing your force instead of distancing from it. Aura also derives from understanding who you represent. You don't need to be noisy to be observed. The most silent individual in the space frequently possesses the greatest strength because they're witnessing everything. They're selecting when to move instead of responding to everything. To construct this kind of aura, begin modestly. Maintain proper stance. Create visual connection without hostility. Allow others to communicate, but don't feel obligated to occupy emptiness. Communicate slower, intentional, with meaning. You don't need to attempt to be strong. You need to cease performing the actions that render you feel insignificant. Aura isn't granted. It's constructed. And once you possess it, individuals absorb your words without being instructed to. That's the Stoic path. That's timeless strength. Number 3, non-attachment is the supreme commitment. Let's discuss something that contemporary existence opposes relentlessly. Non-attachment. In a reality that compels you to value everything, position, approval, wealth, measurement, the most powerful action is to release what you can't command. Non-attachment isn't coldness. It's insight. It's understanding what merits your force and what doesn't. Envision an individual who can distance themselves from conflict without justifying themselves. Someone who doesn't require universal approval. Someone who can fail and not collapse. Succeed and not boast. That individual radiates quiet strength. Why? Because they are not possessed by anything external to themselves. Seneca, among the greatest Stoics, once stated, "He is a great man who uses earthenware dishes as if they were silver." What does that signify? It signifies your tranquility, your strength. Your honor should never rely on external circumstances. When you approach simple circumstances with the same composure you approach abundance, you become invulnerable. That's non-attachment. Non-attachment is liberation. Liberation from requiring validation. Liberation from pursuing what doesn't nourish your essence. Liberation from being emotionally disturbed by every perspective or result. Now, this doesn't signify you shouldn't experience feelings or chase ambitions. It signifies you don't bind your essence to them. You invest your finest, but you release the result. Let me offer you an authentic illustration. There lived a man who had prepared years for an advancement. When the moment arrived, it was given to another. Everyone anticipated him to erupt or resign. But he didn't. He merely acknowledged, congratulated, and continued laboring with the same dedication. Why? Because his investment was within his command. The outcome was not. That man possessed non-attachment. And what happened? Months following, he received an even superior chance simply because he remained composed and reliable. Existence is constantly examining you. Can I extract this from you and witness you crumble? Non-attachment responds, extract it. I'll remain myself. You don't need to transform into emotionless. You need to transform into emotionally independent, where your tranquility isn't leased to the reality. Where your quietness declares you can't disturb me. Begin implementing non-attachment in modest methods. Cease disputing over every minor matter. Don't pursue individuals who distance. Allow individuals to misinterpret you. Release the outcomes once you've invested your portion. This commitment will transform you. You'll begin experiencing unburdened, more powerful, more tranquil. Individuals will observe. They'll inquire, why doesn't anything seem to disturb you, and you won't even need to respond. Your composure will communicate it all. Number 4, commitment speaks beyond inspiration. Let's discuss something that genuinely distinguishes those who are honored from those who are merely temporarily celebrated. Commitment. Inspiration is noisy. You absorb it in the structure of energizing content, digital statements, or individuals declaring, "Let's proceed." But commitment is quiet. It doesn't boast. It doesn't require recognition. It appears every individual day, even when nobody's observing. Stoics didn't pursue inspiration. They didn't await the perfect instance. They constructed patterns that molded their essence. That's the secret. Commitment isn't about performing something once. It's about transforming into someone across time. Marcus Aurelius documented this in his journal. At sunrise, when you struggle departing your rest, instruct yourself, "I am ascending to perform the labor of a human being." This wasn't an elaborate statement. It was a reminder to himself daily. That's commitment. Most individuals don't lack aspirations. They lack persistence. They desire respect without repetition. But respect doesn't derive from an isolated instance. It's constructed gradually, like a monument, stone by stone. Let me share an individual narrative from someone I once encountered. He was gentle-voiced, never discussed what he was pursuing. But every sunrise without exception, he awakened at 5 a.m. and prepared. Not because he possessed a significant challenge, not for exhibition. He performed it for himself. 1 year following, he appeared distinct, carried himself distinct. And suddenly, individuals were requesting his counsel, his direction, but he never altered his manner. He still operated in quietness. That's the characteristic about commitment. It doesn't request respect. It secures it. You desire to construct quiet strength, commence with organization. Establish a rising moment and respect it. Develop patterns that benefit your consciousness and physical form. Appear even when nobody celebrates. And when you stumble, ascend without protesting. Individuals assume strength is ostentatious. But genuine fortitude is appearing when it's monotonous, when it's frigid, when it's troublesome. That's where quiet champions are constructed. Question yourself, what do I perform when nobody's observing? What practices characterize me? Am I waiting to sense motivated? Or am I already in action? Remember this. Lions don't require prompts to pursue. It's within them. Transform commitment into part of who you represent. Not something you compel, but something you harmonize with. That's the Stoic route. Quiet, resolute, persistent. Music. Number 5, communicate less, signify more. There's strength in your language, but there's even greater strength in selecting when and how to deploy them. We exist in an era of excessive revelation. Everyone desires to communicate, broadcast, dispute, or justify themselves. But the individual who communicates with purpose, who deploys fewer expressions but conveys more significance, demands a distinct kind of respect. That's not merely intelligent, that's Stoic. The thinker Zeno of Citium, the originator of Stoicism, once stated, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen more than we say." This wasn't about being timid. It was about being strong enough not to require the final expression, strong enough to absorb profoundly, to allow quietness to perform the demanding labor. Have you ever witnessed someone command a space with merely one phrase? They didn't communicate extensively, but when they did, everyone absorbed. That's because their expressions weren't disorder. They were refined like a weapon. They only communicated when it mattered. And when they did, they expressed something authentic. Communicating less doesn't signify expressing nothing. It signifies eliminating excess, getting authentic. It signifies absorbing, comprehending, and only communicating when your expressions add significance to the dialogue. Here's why this matters. When you communicate less, individuals lean closer. When you halt before replying, your expressions carry purpose. When you don't dispute, every occasion someone confronts, you demonstrate restraint. This doesn't render you inactive, it renders you exact. Let me share a narrative. There lived a young individual who constantly engaged in confrontations. Every offense, every disagreement, he possessed something to express. It rendered him sense powerful. But one moment an elder guide pulled him aside and stated, "You communicate like your expressions are worthless, but every expression demands something. Your moment, your force, your tranquility." That struck profoundly. From that moment, the young individual communicated less, witnessed more, and when he did communicate, it wasn't to triumph, it was to enhance. Quietness is not weakness, it's insight. And when you ultimately communicate, individuals will absorb because they'll understand. You don't communicate merely to communicate. You communicate because it matters. How do you implement this kind of quietness? Cease cutting off. Don't communicate merely to be absorbed. Communicate to enhance. Welcome halts. They generate strength. Allow others to occupy the emptiness. You don't need to challenge. When your expressions carry significance, your quietness becomes even more compelling. Individuals will recall not merely what you expressed, but how infrequently you required to communicate to express something significant. Number 6, your responses expose your genuine strength. Among the most transformative instructions of Stoicism is straightforward but frequently disregarded. You are not what occurs to you. You are how you reply to it. Put differently, your response is your genuine essence. Anyone can acknowledge when circumstances proceed favorably. But who are you when you're offended, deceived, examined? That instance right there, that's your authenticity. That's your strength or your vulnerability. The Stoics maintain that external circumstances are impartial. What grants them significance is how we construe them. That's why someone can confront a tempest and develop more powerful while another collapses in the identical conditions. There's a significant statement from Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who endured the Holocaust and profoundly grasped Stoic foundations. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. That emptiness, that minimal halt, is everything. It's where your destiny is determined. In that instance, you can select quietness over screaming, insight over response, movement over impulse. Let's be truthful, existence will examine you. Someone will dismiss you. Something will collapse. You will sense strain. And that's where the genuine labor commences. Because when individuals witness you reply with composure, command, and precision, it astonishes them. It secures respect in a manner expressions never could. A genuine illustration. There lived a man incorrectly blamed before a gathering. Most individuals would have protested, protected themselves, required fairness, but he remained silently. Not because he didn't value, but because he understood the authenticity didn't require fear. Following, everything was resolved. But what individuals recalled most, his quietness, his control, his strength. Why did it affect them? Because quietness confronting injustice is fortitude, not vulnerability. Your response in challenging instances generates your standing. Individuals may not recall everything you express, but they'll never disregard how you maintained yourself when existence got demanding. So, how do you construct this kind of reply? Implement the halt. Don't reply immediately when provoked. Question yourself, is this worthy of my force? Prepare your physical form and consciousness to inhale through discord. The most powerful individuals you'll ever encounter aren't noisy. They're collected. Composure isn't instinctive for them. It's prepared, molded in intensity, implemented in quietness. The more you perfect your response, the less others can dominate you. And the more established you represent, the more individuals will approach you not for conflict, but for guidance. Remember this. In disorder, be the composure. In offense, be the honor. In deception, be the instruction. That quiet stoic strength. That's who you're transforming into. So, here we stand. You've progressed through the instructions, the force, the strength of timeless stoicism, not merely as expressions, but as genuine strength, quiet, established, and honored. Let's contemplate what you've just awakened. You absorb that emotional mastery isn't about disregarding sentiments. It's about governing over them. You witnessed how aura without expressing a syllable transforms how individuals perceive you. You grasped that non-attachment isn't distant, it's insight. You welcome that commitment doesn't shout, it constructs. You comprehend that your expressions matter more when there are fewer of them. And ultimately, you witnessed how your responses mold your heritage. This is not philosophy. This is authentic. And this strength, it's not exclusive to thinkers or timeless champions. It's already within you currently. You simply need to exist it. What renders this quiet strength distinct is that it doesn't need to be noisy to be powerful. It doesn't plead for focus. It demands it. And individuals may not be capable to clarify why they honor you, but they will because respect is something sensed, not compelled. You don't need to command others. You need to perfect yourself. And when you perform that completely, genuinely, persistently, you transform into someone who carries themselves with quiet intensity. So now I challenge you. Implement quietness where others protest. Select insight where others pursue disorder. Reply with strength, not fear. And most of all, be someone who doesn't merely discuss fortitude, but manifests it. In this chaotic reality, be the composed voice. In the tempest, be the established aura. In uncertainty, be the solid one everyone gravitates to. This is the quiet strength. This is stoic power, and it's already yours. I desire you to place this declaration in the responses. I carry myself in quietness, but I am sensed universally. Approve the content, distribute it with someone who requires this. Place your reflections in the responses, and ensure to follow the channel. There's more strength awaiting you forward.